Welcome to episode 7 of the Can You Geek podcast. My name is Steve, and this is Aaron.
Hello.
So before we even catch up with each other, stop listening now if you have not watched Endgame. There will be spoilers, so just stop. If you've watched it, hang out, enjoy our banter. If not, go watch it, and then come back and listen.
If you haven't seen it because of kids or schedule issues or something like that, I feel bad for you. But this is going to be a spoiler episode, so we are trying to warn you as much as possible. Please do not continue if you've not seen Endgame, because it is worth seeing for yourself without spoilers. I know the internet's a hard place to navigate nowadays without assholes spoiling stuff, but do your best, and we will not be the ones who spoil it for you unless you ignore everything we're saying right now in this nice lengthy warning and go ahead and listen to the episode.
We're trying really hard to stop you from getting any warnings or any spoilers from us. So please, please, this will be 2 weeks after the release. So I hope everybody that wants to see it has seen it. If not, please go watch it, then listen to our podcast.
Yeah, because then, you can hear what we have to say about it.
Exactly. All right, sir. So let's catch up because it's been a week. So what is new in your life?
I saw Endgame.
Yeah, so did I.
I also watched the third episode of the final season of Game of Thrones, which, if we have time, I'd love to discuss it. And we, Jess and I went and got our very first ultrasound for our first little baby. He or she was dancing, even waved at us. It was adorable. It was a very emotional moment, kind of crazy. You were texting me right before,
yep,
which was cool. Yeah, it was a really big deal. Jess and I were very, very happy. Her mom got to come up, so it was really cool because, that's her only daughter, and it was really awesome to let us all be kind of a part of that experience. It was magical, man. It was really awesome. I'm super stoked to be a dad. I'm Jess wants a boy. I think it'll be a girl, but I really don't care if it's a girl or a boy. Although I've had dreams of a pretty little girl twice now, and I know that doesn't really mean anything, but I really just want to see who wins. Really, it's a competition now.
I'm super excited for you guys. So when you were saying you're going for the ultrasound, I was excited. I told my wife, who is still overseas, and she is super excited for you guys.
She gets back soon, though, right?
Next week.
Next week. Okay, cool. Yeah, and then aside from that, I did my last final for school. I think I finished with about a 4.0 or a little over GPA overall. Did pretty well on all my finals, I think. I haven't checked my final one yet. The grade hasn't come through quite yet, but I'm excited to see how that went, and just kind of been chilling, man. What about yourself? Playing a lot of Warframe. I've been playing an obsessively large amount of Warframe.
So I've been trying to play an obsessively large amount of Warframe with you, but single parenting has been all-encompassing.
So is it now? I had no idea it would be like that.
So new respect for anybody who's doing this full-time as a single parent. And I only have one of my 3 children here, so yeah. But, I mean, he's a joy, and I love him to death, so it's fine. I've been getting stuff ready, so those that don't know, I'm starting up a custom 3D printing and laser engraving company. And I'm going to be doing a local farm market this summer, and so I'm getting stuff ready because that starts in 2 weeks. So I'm trying to get stuff printed. I've got my banner made. I've got business cards coming in. So now it's just getting product. So I've got 40 wooden coasters currently drying in the back of my car to get any moisture out. So when I laser engrave, they won't just explode on me. I've got acrylic sheets in the back of my car ready to be cut. And 3D printing pretty much every night while we're trying to play Warframe.
Yeah, you made Jess and I 3 little wooden engraved coasters, and we love those things. I'm using one right now. I've got my Spider-Man and Deadpool one down here, and then she's got the Wally and Eve one. It's so good, dude. She's got the Wally and Eve one she uses, and I've got the Xenomorph hugger.
Yeah, the free hugs.
Free hugs, yeah. Love that one so much. Makes me happy.
Yeah, but otherwise, no, life is good. Just busy, busy, busy.
Ah, dude, I hear you, man. My life's kind of slowing down a little bit on the regards of school, but speeding up in preparation for a child. So, gonna be fun, gonna be an adventure, and dude, it's just I tell you, it's this day in the week that I look forward to. I'm just super excited to talk to you and just bullshit. And I know we've wanted to talk about Endgame, and I know that like it's something that we're really not supposed to do, you know, as far as like how our podcast kind of runs. Like this is one big thing, geek. And I would say this, like we didn't do like Shazam was an amazing movie. We're not going to do a movie review on every movie we watch that comes out. We may do that as like a bonus episode content for Patreon stuff or something like that. But like for our normal episodes, we normally wouldn't do a movie review. But I have to say this. This is the culmination of 10 years in the making. Iron Man was a huge deal. It was my favorite Marvel movie for the longest time, and Infinity War was just, it was a great bring together, and to see Endgame, I just think it's too important not to discuss. We are giving about a 2-week window. Yeah, and I know it sucks for people who can't get to the theater, and I know that you're kind of missing an episode. For those of you that have been writing us and telling us all the cool things that our episodes have done for you and like the content and how you're enjoying it, I hate that we might possibly be losing a couple of you this week just for like this week, right? I know you'll be back next week, but I understand that this is a little frustrating because it is a spoiler take, but I cannot. Steve and I talked about it a lot. We haven't gotten to discuss Endgame or our thoughts on it, so this is just raw, bringing it to you, like our points and what we liked and what we didn't like. And just kind of how we felt about it, but it does spoil the movie. So I don't want you if we didn't warn enough before.
Please,
we
spoilers.
Yeah. This is two guys who just want to geek out on a movie that's been a big deal in our lives, you know, and what it's come to, and we haven't had time to talk to each other. So here it is. This is our, as Steve put it, our date night together. Yeah. So we get to have this moment.
So we've played together and talked to each other almost every day since both of us have watched this, and neither of us have said anything about this movie to each other, waiting for today.
Mainly focused on Warframe and stuff like that. Plus we had a couple people in our party that hadn't seen it, so we couldn't really discuss it. Yeah. We're not ones to ruin movies for people. We don't spoil movies for people who haven't seen it.
We didn't even talk about Game of Thrones until I was able to have watched it, which was very nice of everybody in the group. So I am very thankful of that.
Yeah, especially when Superman shows up and blasts all those flying pigs out of the sky. It's pretty crazy. Game of Thrones gets nuts.
God, I don't even know where to start with this. So as you were saying, this is a culmination of 10 years of Marvel planning and genius for all intents and purposes. 22 movies interconnected together to lead up to this one moment is insanely hard to pull off at the level they did. And yeah, so we had to talk about it. We couldn't not talk about this movie.
So let me just hear this. What on a scale of where Marvel movies have been for you, where did Endgame sit? As for not like a ranking like top 5 or anything like that, but like, was it everything that you hoped for, or did you have enough negatives where it really kind of let you down?
Not let down at all. It was. So as I think the one thing I said to you, I think I said it to you. I know I said it to my wife. I was not emotionally prepared for that movie. So
yeah, and for Jess and I, we didn't see it until the episode premiere of episode 3 of Game of Thrones. And I don't want to spoil any of that. So in case, if we do get to it, we'll get to where we give a spoiler alert for that. But just essentially, everybody knew that a lot of stuff was going to go down in episode 3 of the Game of Thrones. And we watched it right after we got home at like 2 a.m. after watching Endgame. So it was Endgame, and then like maybe 30 minutes later, we're already watching that Game of Thrones episode. So it was a lot of gut punch. It was a lot of emotion. I do have some parts that we'll discuss during Endgame. I felt overall it was an extraordinarily good movie. I didn't have any faith, and this was just me being a dick because Infinity War was the perfect movie, in my opinion. I thought Infinity War was I thought that Thanos' end there was so good. When he does the snap, everything just, I don't know. For some reason, I do root for the villains, everybody. I'm kind of a bad person that way. But I thought that it was a great movie. And I've watched it a bunch since then. I have a buddy who's watched it even more than me. But I think that every time I watch it, I'm still pleased with the outcome. Like, I think they did it right. I understand that Endgame needed to end that and reverse a lot of things, right? Because it wouldn't make sense to make that the ending. That wouldn't be a comic book movie if the bad guy won. So
I did like that the bad guy won. It was a genius move by them to not have everything settled at the end of Infinity War.
yeah, and it was a big deal. A lot of people went through a lot of problem. Like you just, I mean, that was a year ago that we had to be at that moment. That moment when we had to be at that time when Thanos killed half of everything, and we saw a lot of our favorite heroes go down and disappear, people just going away, and we had to wait a year to see what they did, and we got to see that. And I agree with you. I think that it was an emotional roller coaster for that, but I do feel like it was just an incredibly done movie. I think that every turn, despite my doubts in it, I think that there was only a couple things I can say that I didn't like.
Yeah, I mean, there's in every movie I'm going to find something that I don't like. So
yeah, but these specifically, like, they kind of upset me. Like, these pissed me off. Like, it made me mad. I'm still mad about it. I'm still mad about it now. So
I am really intrigued now to see what you disliked that much.
Yeah, so you go ahead though. I want to hear kind of how you saw, or if you can guide us how you want to kind of take us through the spoiling of Endgame.
So,
because I don't think we spoiled anything yet.
We haven't spoiled anything yet. So I watched it with my son, which he was super, super pumped. I made sure he went to the washroom before we left the house. I made sure he went to the washroom before we walked in the theater.
That's a bathroom for all you Americans out there.
Bathroom.
Okay.
I screwed up and I bought him a medium pop. So he did have a bathroom break in the middle of it, but it was fine. It was in one of the recommended bathroom break spots, so we missed like a 2-second dialogue that wasn't super important.
Depends on what dialogue you miss. I feel
it was a okay moment.
I'm one of those people that will shit my pants before I leave. Like I won't leave the theater. I
tried really hard not to, but yeah.
You have a kid, it's a different story. I have a policy. Like, if anybody comes in there and is like, oh, yeah, I'm leaving. I was like, no, I don't know how you're doing that. That's brave on you. I can't. It would tear me into pieces, dude, just not knowing what happened in those exact moments and not seeing it for myself.
So, I mean, my experience is going to be slightly skewed by the fact that I watched it with a 9-year-old and his reactions and how they impacted me. I will say the reason it was so emotional is with my wife and kids being gone is I'm super emotional as it is for some reason. When my son was born, he broke me. I never used to cry. I never used to tear up. Nothing would get to me. The day my son was born, I turned into a blubbering mess. They wanted me. Oh, you're going to experience it. They were like going to hand me the scissors and they're like, you want to cut the cord? And I was just sobbing in the corner. I'm like, no, I can't do it.
I can't do it. I'm broken.
Anything to do with family or like a dad and their kids gets me now. And so there was at least, I want to say at least 30 minutes of Endgame that I had tears in my eyes coming down. I wasn't ugly crying. I wasn't that bad, but there was definite water flowing. So
interesting. I only had one.
Yeah. And
there's only one moment. There was only one moment that got me. Only one. And I'm not ashamed to say that I'll cry during movies. It was only one moment for me, and I will explain why it was only one.
My wife cries a lot in movies, and I think she only cried in 1 or 2 spots. Like this, like I said, I wasn't emotionally prepared for this movie because of everything else in my life. But yeah. I
think Jess cried twice, or at least teared up. I mean, when we say cry, we mean at least like some wetness left the eyeballs. So I think there was 2 times she let go, and I mean they're pretty obvious which 2 times those probably were, but so I
would, in leading us through this, I say, well, let's start at the beginning of the movie and we'll work our way through as best as we can remember. I don't know it scene by scene. I mean, I've only watched it once.
Yeah, me too. And that was opening weekend. So we both saw it, I think, a day apart or 2 days. Did you see it Friday or Saturday?
I watched it Saturday afternoon and then you watched it Sunday night. So yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we watched it Sunday night. Yep. So we've got only like 4 or 5 days of memory loss. So half-life of knowledge of what happened in the movie. But we can at least talk to the big events, I think. So I don't mind starting at the beginning. Because I think the opening scene was perfect.
Yeah. So, as I try to remember exactly what happened in the opening scene. Opening scene was them at the Avengers.
Nope.
No?
No. Who wasn't in Infinity War?
Ant-Man. Yes.
No.
Hawkeye. Yes.
Well, yeah,
yes.
There you go. Hawkeye.
So,
yeah. I mean, Ant-Man wasn't, but yes, Hawkeye was who I'm talking about.
So, yeah, sorry. Movie opens, and it's Hawkeye with his family on his farm, teaching his oldest daughter how to shoot the bow. And he's sitting there teaching her pull back, breathe, 3 fingers, release. She gets a perfect bullseye. He pats her on the back, says, "Good job, Hawkeye. Now go get your arrow." He turns around to pick something up, listens to his wife talking to his children, turns back around, and you just see the faint dust flying away and a light crackle of thunder in the background. And he goes over to try and look for her. And is like, "Oh, where'd she go?" Turns back around to call to his wife and his kids. And then you see just a little bit more dust and then more thunder. And then him run over screaming, "No." And yeah.
And you really broke down the beginning. You went shot for shot. Okay, so
the beginning, it really did hit home. Like that scene, again, like I said, Family Guy, like anything family hits me. That almost made me cry in the first minute.
It was so perfect. So seeing Hawkeye, because everybody knew he was going to become Ronin in the movie. Like, it was known. Like, it wasn't a surprise that Ronin was going to happen. It wasn't like a thing that people are shocked about. Like, that's not even a spoiler for anyone. But seeing him get to react, I think starting, because Hawkeye is one of the originals,
yep.
Right? So not to see him in Infinity War is a big piece. That's a big point to say that one of the original Avengers that we've grown up with in the MCU isn't there. So to start Endgame with Hawkeye, I just thought couldn't have been done better. You didn't start with any of the other people that have been in the movies. No, you started with Hawkeye. It was a really cool moment. And then it pans out to 5 years later, which I thought it was cool. I didn't expect them to go that route. I didn't expect them to dive into the future of like any amount of time of what happened. I thought it would be immediately regroup, let's do something. It was cool to see it have a timeline lapse.
Yeah.
Which will soon bring me to my first issue.
And then a second timeline lapse, like not long after. Well, no. Was it 5 years? Because then didn't it cut then to them in the base, and then with Captain Marvel, they go straight out to try and find them?
So you're getting to my first issue with the movie. So when does it explain why Captain Marvel went out to find Tony and Nebula?
That it doesn't. It just
Yeah, that's right. It doesn't. Doesn't give me a 3 weeks earlier. It doesn't give me a oh, you're right though, Tony. You're right. It is a time span. You're right. The 5 years later doesn't happen until Tony gets back. Good call.
Yeah.
So, but my first issue that I'm still upset with is I got nothing for Captain Marvel. Nothing. Everybody's okay with this very supernatural being just showing up with Tony and Nebula, and like, they didn't give her anything. Like, I would have taken like a 2 weeks later she shows up. Like in the commercials we got, hey, where's Fury? At least that connected something to the previous movie, and the fact that, in the end of Infinity War, the after credit scene when Nick Fury buzzes for her, and in in Captain Marvel itself, that she's gone off. She left Earth. Like, she went away. And so why?
Part of me thinks that was after the scene in the end of Captain Marvel when she was like, "Where's Fury?" And then
she doesn't say that in Captain Marvel, does she?
Yeah, right at the very end. At the very, very, very end of the last credit scene when she walks in and they're like, "Oh, the pager stopped beeping."
That's the end credit scene of Captain Marvel. That's not... I thought that was one of
Yeah,
the commercials for Endgame.
no, that's the end credit scene of Captain Marvel. Is she walks in and they're standing in front of the pager, and it had just finished. It stopped, and they were like,
Damn it.
and Steve Rogers is like, "Hey, have you turned it off and turned it back on again?" And then they turn around and she's right there, and she's like, "Where's Fury?"
Oh my God, you're right. Oh, I can no longer be angry about it. You fixed it. So I thought that
Yeah.
was a commercial thing. For some reason in my head, that was one of the commercials. And it's because Captain Marvel just fucking happened. Like, it just happened. We just got Captain Marvel. Like it.
Well, you
and
know
so
what the most messed up part about that whole thing is? They filmed Endgame before Captain Marvel.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So
I don't. It's weird. It's how they did it. It's,
well, yeah, but it fixes me. At least I don't have to be angry about it anymore. I was still upset about it. I was like, they gave her no sort of introduction. So you just, well, that's kind of a bummer for those that didn't watch Captain Marvel then.
yeah, if you didn't watch the end credits, you would have no idea that she had actually been to Earth first before. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. She went to Earth, was like, "Where's Fury?" They said all this stuff happened, and then she went out to look for Tony.
Yeah, I think you're right, man. I think you're. I mean, they didn't say. I don't think they said anything about going and finding Tony. Like that wasn't something. But now at least I can. Yeah, but now I can connect the dot a little better. Like I was pissed because I thought they were showing it in the commercials for it. I didn't realize that I was just mixing data. Oh God, you guys can't trust me on anything I'm saying about the movie now.
Oh God, with how much have come out and what's been going on with it, I don't blame you. Like.
Yeah, I'm so confused now. So that's cool. That at least connects it. The next thing I'm mad about, there is no fixing. Like there's no fixing for it because it doesn't make sense to me and I don't like it. It's illogical and it doesn't happen till near the end of the movie, so we won't even get there yet for a while. So as intrigued as you may be, you at least fixed one of them for me.
Which is good. So then, okay, so she goes out, she finds Tony and Nebula, who the dynamic that they breed on the Milano. I think it was still the Milano at that time, or no, it was something else. I don't remember what they called it in this again.
I thought it was. Was that what ship it was?
It was the second ship.
It's the Guardian ship, though?
Yeah, it's the Guardian ship.
Okay.
That dynamic that they show that grows between Nebula and Tony is so interesting to watch.
It's the most good you get to see Nebula be, which is really cool.
Yeah, and watching her change just from them playing the old folding football game and her knowing that Tony's gonna die and she's not, it's that whole dynamic of it's just crazy. Like when
it was cool.
He records the message to Pepper that everybody sees in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler there. And then he says,
spoiled so much.
Oh, I know. We're 10 minutes into the movie and we're spoiling everything. He's like, okay, I'm going to go to sleep now. And then he curls up and lays down on the ground wearing Peter Parker's jacket, which is just gut-wrenching. He then, while he's sleeping, Nebula comes over, picks him up and puts him into the captain chair so that he's a little more comfortable and puts her hand on his shoulder like, it's okay to rest a little bit. And then you see him start to wake up when this bright light shows up, and the bright light is Captain Marvel, and she's standing outside with a big smile on her face. And that part got me. Like, I was like, really? Like, she's going to be smiling? Like, that whole thing seemed weird to me.
Oh, I didn't mind that. I mean, she's so cocky. Like,
she's totally cocky.
She was really... So I didn't, like... And maybe it was just joy or excitement. That didn't bother me so much. And, like, I'm trying to still get over the fact that I can't be angry about the whole not introducing the character. So I do think that was good. And then you kind of flash forward. It was interesting to see just that dynamic come to light. And then, Marvel brings him home. And you get to see, like, Pepper's reaction and everybody coming and kind of wishing Tony back. And then you get to see that hate between Tony and Cap. And the hate between Tony and Cap was a little crazy.
It's like the original Tony back.
Yeah, but it was hard to watch those two not, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, because, that was the whole thing, right? Is just connecting that back to Infinity War and what went, oh my God, it was
all the way back to Ultron.
Yeah, well, Civil War I think was the big one.
Yeah,
Because Civil War was when they fought over those, those prime things he was talking about. Like he could have helped prevent that earlier or whatever. And
yeah, he's like, if we would have had a robot at every corner. Yeah, it was everything came back. It was set up. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was good. It was a good first part of the movie, and honestly, it was a lot of fun to watch. Kind of all these characters start coming back, and it was also sad, and it was hard, and it was gruesome. Like, or not gruesome, but like it was tough. It was tough to watch. The emotions were right. They did it right. They just did it right.
Yeah.
Like they open all that stuff, like all the separation, people just leaving each other, and then you kind of see Black Widow, kind of controlling almost the Avenger initiative. She's like
we hadn't even gotten to that part yet, because first after they get Tony back, then they go out to find Thanos.
Did that happen first?
That happened first.
Oh my god, my memories. I need to watch the movie again. Yeah, my timeline's all screwed up.
Yeah, so Captain Marvel rescues Tony and Nebula brings him back. Tony's recovering, and they're trying to figure out from Tony if there was any hint on where Thanos might have went.
Oh, and then Nebula reveals she knows where he's at.
Yeah, and so then they start searching the universe as best as they can, and they find another planet where the power surge happens from, like they saw when he snapped his fingers.
Right. Oh my god, that's why. So they did immediately respond. They immediately tried to do something. That's how this. Oh my god, how did I just? I've been so focused on other parts. Like there's so much to this movie.
Oh, it
is 3 hours long, and it is so. It's tough to kind of piece all this. But you're right. They do. They go find Thanos. Oh my god.
And
that was rough.
That was really. So then they show up and they don't even fight Thanos. They just beat the shit out of Thanos like instantly.
Well, he's not even looking for a fight.
No, he's broken. The second time he snapped his fingers, he's like half burnt to the core.
Yeah, but his spirit isn't broken. He did exactly what he sought to do. Like he's satisfied.
He's retired.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't. His death doesn't mean anything to him anymore.
Yeah,
he did exactly what he was like. He thought his destiny was. His destiny was to get the stones, make half of all be. Yep, correct the universe, and then try using it again to destroy the stones. I mean, that's just madness. Crazy.
I don't even think that was intentional. Like, I don't think that was his plan initially. I think that he just realized that.
Well, he mentions it, right? That it's too tempting. The power's too tempting.
Yeah.
Like, it's too much. It's too much for one person to have, or, one being to have. And so he destroyed him due to temptation. Like, he fought his own temptation off, which was really cool.
Which, again, character development. That shows that this version of Thanos, which we'll get into why I'm saying it that way, he was a bad guy, but in his mind, he wasn't a bad guy. Total Wreck-It Ralph Zangief reference there.
Yeah, I like it.
He's just like, everybody else saw him as a villain, but in his mind, he was doing the greater good. And he's like, you're going to hate me for it, but in the long run, you're going to understand that I'm doing this to help.
Yeah, it's exactly like Ozymandias in Watchmen. Like, Ozymandias, in the end, he was like, yep, I know that I killed millions of people, but it was for the greater good of humanity. So you get these villains, and they're the best villains. The best villains are ones that
you can relate to.
They just they see a bigger picture, and it's one that isn't sinister. It's just one that, yes, it involves a lot of sacrifice, but it's at least attempt to fix something overall. Yes. And in his case, the universe. In Ozymandias' case, Earth. And you see that aspect of a villain. It makes for a strong villain. It makes for a villain that makes sense. Like your Joker is kind of I don't know, it's an oddball as far as how much I respect that villain compared to ones like Thanos or Ozymandias. And it's interesting. It's interesting to see it. It's fun. It's cool. You get to kind of see the way they think and why they do the things they do. And it was a fun scene to see them kind of see a broken, like a Thanos who was, he's not trying to fight him or anything. And then,
his goal was accomplished. He was ready to just retire, live on his farm, and just have a nice life.
Yeah, and it's funny because Todd said that he was like watching the first like 10 minutes. They'll kill Thanos. So it's like, no, they won't.
Which
they did. Yeah.
Leading into where we're going next. So the very first thing they do is they cut off his hand that has the gauntlet on it. So genius, they've learned from before, is cut the arm off so he can't stab. And then they're asking him where the stones are, where the stones are, where the stones are. And he eventually admits that he destroyed them. They say he's a liar. Nebula says, no, if it's the one thing my father never did, it was lie. So he's not going to be lying now. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, thump, his head rolls off, falls on the ground, and you turn and there's Thor standing there in his super angry self. Because that was the one thing that we didn't mention was Thor is the most angry person you have ever seen in this movie in the beginning.
Yeah, he's super mad. So
he feels like he failed, like really failed, and it's because of him that half of everything is gone. And so, yeah, he cuts the head off. People turn and look at him, and they said, well, what did you do? And he said, I went for the head. Which, amazing callback to Infinity War, exactly why. And it was, yeah, that part was genius, that he was like, well, I went for the head. Like, I did what he told me to do.
Yeah, and for him to do it, it was just fun. And I liked it that he got there. And then that's what they come back and they realize. Then they realize it's pretty much over. And then you kind of fast forward through time.
Yeah, they do the 5-year jump. And after the 5-year jump, the first thing I believe it opens on is like.
Oh, I don't think we need to detail on everything.
No, I know, but it's like a decimated New York.
They've seen it, right?
Yeah, but the decimated New York, the empty ball stadium, showing that life isn't back to normal.
Right, yeah, look, it really messed stuff up, and I think they show like papers and stuff. And I mean, why wouldn't they be? Yeah. If half of humanity, just speaking to Earth, since that's where we're placed at, if half of humanity just goes away, that's a tough thing for us to all emotionally go back from, especially when you're like we talked about Hawkeye's opening scene, and I think that's a really cool way to show how it would be for a lot of people. We all know that that's a possibility, but to see it visually of a family, and he lost, he didn't just lose half his family, he lost the entire thing. Yeah. And so for that to be a reality, it's not going to be happy. And I mean, you talk about a baseball stadium. I mean, who knows how many of the local teams got
well, that's why
decimated. What kind of talent did you lose there? You know what I mean?
Where it ended up, like after that whole pan through the city, and then it cuts to like a gym or a church basement, and it's Cap leading a support group for men who survived and how they are progressing and trying to live in this world.
Yeah, Cap doing Cap things, and like we were talking about before, where I was trying to get into it. The
Russo brother talking about his the date. You know that, right? That was one of the Russos that was in the support group.
Yeah.
Sorry, I cut you off there.
No, you're good. No, I just like the support group thing was cool because it shows Cap trying to do something that isn't, you know what I mean? Like him trying to do something that makes a difference for him, because it's the way Cap is, and he's Cap's broken. Like him, he's like Rogers. He's in a position where he just doesn't have much emotion anymore. It's like where he used to, like the all spirited. Which is funny later when he fights himself, and it's good to watch. It's good to watch like learned Cap see overzealous Cap and just make fun of himself for a little bit.
Oh, it's so good.
But yeah, I thought that all of that beginning part and kind of seeing where all the characters went and what they did, I thought it was appropriate. And then you get Ant-Man who comes out, and then he kind of sparks life into the possibilities anymore with the whole quantum thing. How did you feel about them doing the time travel the way they did?
I didn't mind the way they did it. Okay, so this is, you brought up the one thing I had issues with, is they were saved by a freaking rat. If that rat wasn't in the van in the junkyard, none of this fucking happens. Pardon my language.
So you're talking about, because that's what releases Ant-Man, right? That rat
the rat crawling on the control board hits the exact right sequence that triggers the quantum tunnel to open, and he gets released. Like,
I'm sorry, it's to that just like, so when it comes to, so the time travel overall and what they do when they're trying to like go get the stones or whatnot.
Yeah.
I thought that I chalk a lot of things up to just comic book stuff, right? Like a lot of people get real nitty gritty about things they see in movies and they're like, oh, that couldn't happen this way. That couldn't happen that way. But you're talking about comic book movies now.
Oh,
right?
I know.
In comic book movies, who cares? No. I'm not saying like just the general public. You're talking about comic book movies and things happen. Funny stuff like that, like a rat having us walk over the controls, like that's a comic book. Just comic book story. Yeah. And so when it got to the time travel, it's like, oh, well, I'm not going to listen to. I'm not going to try to outthink what they're doing with this, but I am going to, enjoy how they play around with time travel. And it was fun how they were always making fun of a lot of the old time travel movies throughout the movie and like having fun with that. And it was cool.
Don't talk to yourself back then. You'll change everything.
Yeah. And it was funny. Like, that's funny. Like,
so what, Back to the Future was all shit?
Yeah, just making fun of those movies was fun. Like it was a lot of fun to watch it. I thought it was neat to see the teams come up. You did tell me that there's a commercial now that ruins Fat Thor for everyone.
It does.
That bums me out because I think, for all of you that obviously, if you've gotten this far and you haven't seen the movie, shame on you. But if you have, you obviously know, like Fat Thor got ruined for people. And if it was ruined for you before you saw the movie and you're listening to this now, yeah, I'm sorry for you, man. Like that and Smart Hulk, like the Professor Hulk and the Fat Thor, like those things being in commercials is wrong.
Yeah,
like Disney's ruining their own good surprises.
I knew Professor Hulk was coming. I did. I knew that.
See, I didn't know that. He was a surprise for me. Fat Thor was a surprise for me.
Surprise for me, and it made. So again, getting more nuanced into it, that. The guilt and like anger that just lived in him, and he went like full. They're trying not to say it was like mental health, depressed, but he shut down.
Yeah, and he did it so well. Chris Hemsworth's comedic timing and his showing of just how broken he was were both spot on, and it was impressive that he did both of those personalities at once.
Yeah, and then. My favorite character that I pray they give at least a series to, Korg was back.
Yeah, that whole scene in Thor's house about the internet and beer, it was brilliant. It was good to see them, especially after such a, like, as a director, he deserved it for what, with Ragnarok, and see his character get put in the movie was really cool. I liked that. It was fun to see. I
loved that he went from this like super tough gladiator that does all these undercard fights trying to start a revolution to having to get Thor fight his battle for him in voice chat on Fortnite. He's back again. Thor, he's back.
It was like Noob Killer or something like that. Yeah, it was something like funny.
Is it Noob Killer?
Yeah, it was so good.
You get off the internet right now and out of this game, or I will come over there and shove the controller up your ass.
I am the god of thunder.
It was so good.
It was. I enjoyed that. That was fun, and they did a lot of fun stuff with a sad moment in time, right? And at that point, I think when they're grabbing Thor, they've come to the conclusion, like they've talked to Tony, or they're going to talk to Tony, and like
we jumped through stuff.
I don't want to go.
We're not going to go scene for free.
Yeah, because
Tony is back in at that point.
3 hour long podcast. Okay, yeah, and he had said no because he's got a daughter now, right? And I loved seeing humanized Tony. Like I liked seeing Dad Tony because as an expecting father and you being a father, there's a difference between us.
Yep.
Right? There's a moment that I've heard, when it comes to dads, there's this moment when your child is born, when that first kid is born, or if you're one to adopt or anything like that. But like that moment when another person's life is truly in your hands, truly that moment, there's a change. Mm-hmm. There's a change in a person. And I haven't experienced that yet. So Tony, to see how, he's the most selfish person in the world, and you get to see some really cool interactions with him and his dad that were really fun. And I thought those were so important. They were so good, but it also explains, Tony so well in this transformative human being who can't lose that.
Yep.
His one rule when he finally does go in, and that was comedic with Ant-Man turning into a baby, into an old man, and all that
God,
stuff.
that was so good.
It was so good.
I think somebody peed in here. I don't know if it was baby me or old me or just me.
Yeah. So I had fun with that, but I thought it was really cool that Tony's thing was like, we're bringing them here. Like, and I liked that, like, Pepper's gotten to the point where she knows Tony so well. She knows what he's going to do. She knows, of course
that whole thing, like,
yeah.
Because he's like, oh, I'll stop. Like, I figured out how to do time travel, but I'll stop. I'll turn it off.
When do you ever stop? Yeah, you don't stop. Get out of here with that nonsense. And I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. The time travel was fun. All the different teams who went out, that was fun. And I guess of all of them, I think the two, I'm trying to remember if there's any really other ones that matter as much. Because, I mean, there was a lot of comedic stuff that was fun in that. The America's Ass thing was good. It was cool to watch. Yeah, it was cool to watch Cap fight his old self. But I think the two, for me, that were the biggest deal was to see a movie I never gave a shit about mean something at a point with Thor seeing his mom again.
Yes.
That was pretty cool. And then, of course, the Black Widow and Hawkeye moment.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people will be angry with me, and I'm sorry. I didn't cry. I didn't shed a tear. I wasn't really all that sad when Black Widow died. I wasn't. It wasn't for me.
I didn't cry. I didn't cry in that spot.
Really? Okay, so you didn't either.
No, it's where it started to get more emotional. Like, I felt more connected to the movie at that point, but I didn't start to cry. It pulled me in more, though.
I wanted to be sad. I just wasn't.
As weird as it sounds, I think I would have cried more if it was Hawkeye that actually died.
I don't think if it was either. And I think, and unfortunately for me, the reason why is because that scene had already happened.
Yeah, like, you knew somebody was going to die when they were going there.
Right, yeah. It wasn't a big surprise. Like, when Gamora went, that was hard. That was hard to watch. But honestly, it was just a really cool scene. Like, I liked the fight scene between Widow and Hawkeye. That was awesome.
Fighting to see who gets to die.
Yeah. And it's funny because, he says that you need to give up, the one thing you love the most in order to get the Soul Stone. Well, I was talking about it with some others, and I honestly don't think it really would have worked out so well if Hawkeye had sacrificed himself.
Because he had already given up everything. Yep. Or he had already lost everything. I don't think...
Yeah, so... Yeah. Well, that was my point. Like, Hawkeye's not the most important. Like, I don't think that he's the most important person to her. He might very well be, but I think there's an argument for Cap. There's an argument for Banner. There's people.
Banner totally should have been up there,
right?
In that list. But
if you think about it the reverse way, they were like, "Well, he has a family." I was like, "No, he doesn't.
Not anymore.
He doesn't have a family anymore. The most important person to him is Widow. Like I don't think that there's an argument there. I think that she, in all the people that is close to him in his life that exists anymore, she's it. So I think that it worked that way story-wise. I think that unfortunately they dulled the moment. And I get that you really can't get the Soul Stone any other way.
Yeah.
Because if you're trying to get the Soul Stone when Thanos has it, he's already, three stones deep by then or something like that? Like, he's already super powerful.
Yeah.
And
Hawkeye, not pulling it out at that point.
Yeah, you need a team. Like, and we've already been there, right? So it was a tough scene to see redone, but it was a necessary scene. It didn't do anything I just really enjoyed the cool fight, but I didn't get emotional over Widow going. And it's a bummer to say that, but I just, I thought it was a good send off for her. I thought it was, I was fine with it.
And I know she's got a movie coming out, so it's not the end of the world, in all honesty. It wasn't her death, I think, that was getting it. And the reason I think I would have been more emotional if Hawkeye died, because as a parent with a family, like, literally what he went through is like my worst nightmare.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I mean, you feared it when they went,
and,
right? And they left and went to the Philippines. So you feared for their safety getting there, and I know you're going to be fearing for it coming back, and
Yeah.
that's very real for you. I get that.
And so watching him fight her to have the ability to finally give up and be like, I'm done being angry. I'm done fighting the world. Like, I just want to go be with my family. That's when I was like, okay, this is gonna be a mean movie going forward.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Was there any of the back in time moments? I'm sorry. I know we're cutting into like 40. I feel so bad that we're not even to the battle yet.
We know that this movie is going to be. I already knew this episode was going to be long. So
yeah, and so I didn't know if there was any time travel, because I kind of heisted it a little bit there. But is there any like back in time things that were big for you? I had to talk about that one.
I really enjoyed the Nebula dynamic where she ended up having to convince the old Gamora how good they had become together.
That was cool. Yeah, and that obviously defines the turning point for how everything goes awry.
Yeah. And I mean, even seeing just the dynamic difference between Nebula from 2012 Nebula to now Nebula, even just the dynamic between the two of them it's intense, and it was really, really, really well done.
I definitely, that was really cool. It was hard to watch her get like tortured, even though you knew it was the evil Nebula getting tortured for the sake of, the old Nebula, and then the old Nebula obviously getting put, in prison and stuff. Like, it was, because you think they're going to make it out, and she doesn't, and then, all that stuff happens. And Thanos, it was interesting to see, like, badass warrior Thanos. We never really got to see him, like, doing some shit with that blade and, like, doing some cool shit in his armor,
Even in Infinity War, he wasn't like that. Like, it was...
Right, exactly.
Yeah, the other part I really liked in the time travel was the retconning in the Ancient One.
Oh my god, yes! Seeing her again was really, really cool.
Yeah, and because everybody after Doctor Strange was like, where the fuck was she in Avengers? Like...
Yeah, dude, that's so good. That was her and Banner having that back and forth was really fun.
Yeah.
Like, I know they kind of explained, like, she was, talking about how dangerous it was or whatever, and kind of set the plot point for the timelines. It's funny you brought, like, the two most important ones up. You would. But, well, yeah, and it's just, oh, man, that was a good back. It was cool. I got really excited when I saw her again. I saw her, and I was like, oh, that's right. Strange isn't it. And Banner knows all this stuff.
He's not Strange again.
Yeah.
And
but
her
she
reaction
knows him
when he says Strange just gave it up was so good.
Yeah, because then she's like, he was supposed to be the best of us. Like,
yeah.
She questions herself, man. It's crazy.
Actually, there was quite a few things with the time travel that were good.
Yeah, I mean, it is a big part of the movie. Oh, yeah, that was... I mean, that's pure comedy, though. Like, I don't... But I don't really...
That sets up... I'm pretty sure that's what's setting up his Disney Plus show.
Okay, so that's kind of him with the Tesseract and doing his own little thing for a while.
That's my gut feeling is that's what they're going to do with it.
Now, that whole scene was hilarious with Cap and Ant-Man and Tony. Like, their little antics that happened. That was all fun.
I'm inside you now.
Yeah, I'm inside you now. Other than, like, the conversation that Tony, when he goes back and he talks to his dad again and, like, has that conversation where he realizes, like, the selfishness, right? Where his father admits how selfish he's been and how he doesn't want that. And Tony just... It was a cool interaction. They definitely had a lot of... That was a meaningful moment. That was an emotional moment. I thought it was really, really good.
Jarvis as who the Jarvis character was based on. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Jarvis was a butler in the comic. It's so cool to see that he was a person.
Apparently that was also in Agent Carter. I didn't watch Agent Carter very much, but apparently Jarvis was in Agent Carter as well.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. That show unfortunately got canceled. I never got to see it. I heard it was actually really good.
Yeah.
For what it was.
2 episodes, I think, but yeah.
And for an oops moment, I realized it later. I was trying to remember who her team was. It was the Howling Commandos.
Yes.
I knew it started with an H, and I couldn't remember. It was Howling Commandos. That's what it was. But yeah, the time travel stuff was fun. And then we get to, they come back. They succeeded. Everything's happy. All hunky-dory. Hulk grabs the gauntlet, does the snap, and unfortunately...
Before you even do that, I liked the fact that... So they built the gauntlet, and then they start to talk about who gets to use it. And everybody's like, I'll do it, I'll do it, I'll do it. And then Hulk is like, no.
No.
It's me. It's always been me. Like, hello, it's gamma radiation. It's kind of my thing.
Yeah, that was fun. It was cool.
And Tony's response is, just don't erase my kid.
Yeah, right? Like
not in those words, but that's exactly his sentiment is bring everybody back, but don't erase my children.
And of course he tries to bring Widow back. You know what I mean? Like, and of course he tries to do that. And it's really cool. Like he loves her, he cares about her. And it was a lot of fun. But then, Thanos comes back, wrecks the building, and then the fights all start. And this is when man, there was some really cool scenes during the battle scenes. I loved every minute of it, with the exception of one part. This is where we get to my most hated thing. And I don't know if you'll guess it or not, but you can talk about the battle. I'm just going to shut up.
So I'll skip over most of the battle. Them trying to fight him.
Just like your favorite part. Like, they've seen
where
it. Well,
I started to get emotional, which is, it's going to be weird. Most people are going to be like, really there? Is when Thanos standing up after like beating Thor, Tony, and Cap up. And Cap's sitting there with the broken shield laying on the ground, and Thanos is like, thank you. You made me realize I made a mistake in the other version.
Yeah.
I'm not saving your planet. I am going to destroy your planet. And
I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah, and I'm going to enjoy this now. And his entire army comes out. And you just see Cap broken, struggling. And he stands up like, you know what? I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm going to take you down.
I'm dying trying to stop you. Like, that is when I started to really get emotional. And then you hear the radio click in just randomly, and all you hear is Falcon on your left. And it was just like, there's like the joy, because it's like, it worked. The snap worked. They brought everybody back.
You got to feel like they would feel.
Yeah.
That's what makes it so special, is that very moment is so critical to the movie, because they didn't let you have it before that moment. No. They didn't let you have the reassurance that everybody's back.
At all that it worked.
It was beautiful. It was amazing. It was super, just everything about that moment was so magical and incredible, because just as important as it was for Steve Rogers to hear his friend, like, it was important for all us to hear these characters back. Like, we knew it was going to happen. And then you just see the portals. Oh, my God.
When the portals open and everybody starts coming through, again, I'm already emotional. I don't even know if you noticed. There's been... So when the portals open and people are walking through, the Ravagers were there, which is just amazing.
Yeah.
Howard the Duck was there.
Wait, what?
Howard the Duck was part of the big army force to fight Thanos and his people.
I missed that.
Yeah, I saw it. It was just a glimpse. I saw it. He was in a little corner. When the Ravagers step out, he's with the Ravagers to fight. It's like genius.
I missed Howard the Duck.
Yeah, it's the third time Howard the Duck has been in an MCU movie. It was just so well done. But my favorite part of the whole portal part was when Doctor Strange turns to Wong and is like, is that everybody? And Wong looks at him like, how many more did you want?
How many more did you like? Yeah. Mine was I mean, obviously, Spider-Man, when he came
Yeah.
out to Tony, he's like, oh, he got up and he said, it's been 5 years, but you need us. And like, he did the wizard, orangey magical thing above him and like just told us all to go through. It was really.
Oh, the part that got me with that though, yes, the like excited joy. But when he was like, I felt weird and then I like dusted and then all of a sudden I woke up, like he knew he dusted.
Yeah. And he knew that moment happened. And
Yeah.
Tony just loving that he was alive. Like just
That
knowing.
hug. The hug.
Yeah,
Oh.
it meant so much. He's like, okay. And like
He's like, this
taking
feels good in the middle of a battle.
So good.
Oh.
Yeah. It was important. And they did a lot of important things during this.
And then finally hearing Avengers assemble.
Yeah. Yeah, that was cool. It was cool. It was just really, really cool. I loved it. It was a lot of fun.
So the other part I really, really, really enjoyed, just thinking again to the battle, I think it was even before everybody showed up, Cap getting to carry Mjolnir and wield it.
Yeah. And he throws it at his shield. Oh, he did some cool shit.
There was some really cool stuff with it.
When he did that was now that was before they were broken.
Yeah,
right?
that was before he was broken. So that's before everybody came through the portals. And
yeah, but that part
Thor's
was
response
badass.
to it.
And I was like, oh, I knew it.
It was excitement. So and that showed Thor's change. Because in Age of Ultron, when Cap moves it, it's fear in Thor's face. It's not.
Is he still worthy? Right.
Yeah. He's like, whoa. He's like, he moved it. Like, what is going on? And then now he has both. And yeah, Cap's able to wield it. And he's like, I knew it.
He's so excited for his friend.
Yes. Like, and it was almost like, I don't need to bear this burden alone. And just the play between the two of them as they were like throwing Stormbreaker and Mjolnir back and forth, and then Cap holding Stormbreaker beside Thor, and Thor's got Mjolnir, and he's like, "Wait, no, you take the little one, and then take Stormbreaker back."
The little one, yeah. It was magic. It was fun. It was really, really good. And is there more you want to talk about with the battle itself?
I felt. So there was a part I really enjoyed, but at the same time, which is probably going to piss people off, I thought felt a little too staged and set up, for a lack of.
Oh, you're getting to the part I hated.
Yeah,
you're getting to my number 2 hated thing in the movie. And by the way, I'll make sure it's what it was, but
yeah, I'm pretty sure it is
what happened. Yeah.
So they're in the middle of this battle. Thanos realizing he's starting to lose because Scarlet Witch comes in out of nowhere after the fight's already happened, and she is kicking his ass. She is full on proving that she's probably stronger than Captain Marvel because she's got him in the air. She's about to rip him to shreds. And then Thanos calls in his ship to start raining destruction on everybody to obviously break her concentration and not rip him apart. Which again made me giggle because it was full on the whole like gladiator thing where I think it was Ebony Maw was like, but our soldiers are down there. He's like, but so are theirs.
Yeah. So are theirs. Yeah, it's time to take them down.
And then so they start raining hell down on the battlefield, killing anything and everything they can. And then all of a sudden you see all the guns turn and start shooting into the sky. And I was like, what's going on now? Like, not even thinking Captain Marvel isn't even in the movie yet. Like she's not part of the battle. And then all of a sudden she shows up and just flies through the ship like it's nothing, destroys it, lands it. And then goes down. And this whole time Peter's cowering in a little hole, holding the gauntlet, trying to protect it, trying to get it to Ant-Man to try and just get it out of the timeline and protect everybody. And she lands and she's like, oh, I think you got something for me. And he's like, how are you going to get it over there? I'm like, she just destroyed the ship. Like it was nothing. Do you think it's going to be hard for her to get through the army over to him? But then all of the women show up and form like this women power. We've got her. She's not alone. And all of them fight together to push forward, which was exciting. I really enjoyed that they did it, but it felt too on the head. Like, it was just
nope.
too there.
It was dumb. It was fucking dumb. All right, so here we go. One, Captain Marvel being shot at and coming through and just annihilating a ship was freaking awesome.
It was.
So,
and it tied into her old version, like from the actual Captain Marvel movie. She did like the exact same thing. So that made sense.
Yep. And so getting to see that was so killer. And then you see her. So this was my issue. So you see all these women get together. I just want everybody to know that I love powerful women. My wife is a very powerful woman. She is amazing. She is strong-willed. She is a badass. She is a motherfucking badass. You don't fuck with my wife. She's a killer. I love strong women. I think strong women are amazing. That scene was dumb. And the reason why I think it's dumb is it almost, like, why did you have to do it? Why did you do that? Because I'm sorry, you proved my point in two ways. I just saw Captain Marvel single-handedly shoot herself through a ship to destroy it. This is a ship that's raining chaos. Before that, the whole reason that the ship is firing on Earth is because Scarlet Witch is so powerful. She is by herself. Man, she's like, oh, you're about to know who I am. Because this Thanos doesn't know who she is, but it's so incredible. She is ripping him apart, and she looks so badass. She's doing so sick things. She does such amazing work. Thanos has to sacrifice his own people with a barrage from his ships just to get her off of him. Then that same ship gets killed by Captain Marvel, who then fights Thanos. He has to remove the power gem from his fucking gauntlet, insert it into his body just so he can punch the shit out of her to get him off. I don't think you realize just how much power that is requiring him to do just to get rid of her. If that doesn't tell me that powerful women exist naturally within the battle, I don't know what did. Apparently, I needed to see all of them leave wherever they were, fighting all the other stuff. I don't know if you guys know this, but if you take account, there's almost half as much women, there's almost equal part women as there are men. And I'm sorry. Yeah, right? And so now they've all ditched and come to this one spot. And my wife looks at me and she goes, why did they fucking do that? And I was like, honey, I don't know. This is dumb. And just so you know, my wife's a strong fucking woman. She didn't like it. It felt insulting. And one of my friends did enjoy it. My
wife enjoyed it. She told me she enjoyed it. I think her exact words were that was incredible for that part. And again, some people are going to enjoy it, and that's totally fine. But yeah, to me, I'm like, that didn't need to happen. You just showed that the two most powerful people in the entire movie.
The most powerful. Like, they're more powerful than everybody else. Just so you know, the women are the most powerful. Like, those two women right there are so freaking powerful. It's ridiculous.
I would argue Valkyrie might be more powerful than Thor if Thor didn't have the power of lightning. Like,
it's so stupid. Like, that was, and I get why they did it. I get why they did it. It's just so. And I get that earlier in the very beginning of the episode, I argued about, like, comic book logic and how this would be a fun frame in a comic book. I get that. It would have made amazing cover art. I get that. But here's the deal.
They're actually doing it in the comics right now. Like,
the battle was good. The battle was going so well, and it was proving, like, you see Ironheart with Iron Man, and you see them just start fucking shit up.
She's Rescue.
Oh, Rescue.
I always thought it was Ironheart too, but no, she's Rescue.
Rescue. Either way.
That part, honestly, I was crying.
It was so good.
It started with Spider-Man coming in. So Spider-Man comes in, does the whole hug with Tony. I started to cry. So like half the fucking battle, I was crying.
There was so much going on. So many cool things.
The Wasp, when she flies out, and just the look at Ant-Man, like, I got you.
They get to see each other.
It's like I got you. Like, there was no, like, they didn't have
catching up.
You could just see it, like, I'm here for you.
Yep.
And yeah, like, it was just the look from Black Panther to Cap when he walks through, like, you know, no, I knew you would do it type thing. Like, I knew we would be back. And it was just, everything was just hitting. And it was like one after another. And then that scene, honestly, kind of broke it for me a little bit.
Yeah, it threw it off. It's smooth, badass looking. Like, everything was going so cool. And that's what made me mad about it. I have nothing against powerful women. I have nothing against a shot of a bunch of powerful women doing something to protect Spider-Man.
I would watch the movie of all of them together going out and fighting people because they're a great team. The dynamic of all of those people are really good. It just didn't need to happen in that context.
it just didn't work. Like maybe I need to rewatch it and see it again, but I remember it really.
It's possible I missed something too.
Yep, but the battle seemed to be going so cool, and everything was transitioning awesome, and then that happened, and I was like, "What?" And it threw me for a loop.
Oh god, Tony and Pepper in her suit, because they had hinted at it earlier when he's talking to his daughter and she's wearing the mask.
Yeah, it was all good, man. It was all good. Everything was good. And that scene kind of threw it off. But anyway, everything happens. He gets the I am Iron Man moment, which was incredible. The look from Doctor Strange for that 1 in 14 million. Yeah.
When he stole all the stones. And I love that look when Tony looks at Strange and is like, is this really the one that you saw? And he's like, I can't tell you. Because if I tell you, it's not going to happen.
Right?
Yeah,
but like
it
that
was
look
earlier.
Where he gives him the one, when he just throws up his one finger. You know what I mean? And just, Tony knew what he had to do. And that was the part that got me. That's when the tears came down.
Thanos put the glove on. This new glove that Tony had built. So it's like an Iron Man glove, full on in color. And it's got all the stones, and you see him put it on, and just as he's about to snap, you see Tony dive at his hand. And then, if I remember correctly, Thanos beats him up again, knocks him away, and then you see him snap, but nothing happens.
Yep, yeah, he snapped and nothing happened. He's like, what the hell? And that's when it pans to Tony and he's got him in his gauntlet. Yeah. He's got him in his own one.
His suit sucked him out of the gauntlet that he had made. Like, the fact that he built that into there thinking, hey, we might lose. Like, something might happen that I might need my suit to steal it from this glove I'm building is genius in and of itself, to have that foresight. And then, he puts it on. You can see he's struggling with the power. Like, the suit is just not holding it in properly. And then, he says, I am Iron Man, snaps, and you don't even see anything happen at first. It's like, did it not work?
Well, I thought that his forces, because it was a bit delayed, and all of Thanos' forces start to go down. But Thanos it was really cool to see kind of the moment when he knew. Yeah. Like, he just knew. He knew that it was, everything he had gone for was done, and you get to see kind of that moment. And it wasn't then that it happened. It was when he was laying down, and everybody sat down to him like that. Yeah.
Which, again, it's a throwback to Infinity War and Thanos on, the farm thing. Like, he was done. It was like, all right.
But I'm talking about Tony, when Tony sits, when he gets laid down over there. And that's when it got me. That's when the tears, happened, and I was like... By then. Yeah, it was a big deal. This is a character that I've loved so much. I mean, he was a B-rated kind of character in Marvel before the Iron Man movies came out, and Robert Downey Jr. just done so much. And I knew it was going to be Tony when I went in the movie. I was 95% sure Tony was going to die. It was just the way I felt was going to go down. I don't think that it could have gone another way. I don't think it should have gone another way. No, and I really don't think so either. I thought it was perfect, and it was worth it. It was good. It was good, and it was well done, and I thought that it was the right way to do everything that they did. And honestly, Endgame was a great movie. It was a great movie, and so did you have any problems with how they sent off characters? Some people have a lot of issues with the way they did Cap. I thought Old Man Cap was awesome.
Awesome.
And I think him giving it to Falcon, because that's what happens in the comics.
Yes. So in the comics, both him and Bucky, Falcon and Bucky, are Captain. So they've both played Captain America in the comics.
My God, I forgot.
Yes. They both have a series coming out on Disney+. My hope now, because that was the one that we talked about. We're both super excited to watch that series.
Winter Soldier and Falcon, yeah.
So my thought when that happened was, are they going to share the shield in that series, and it's how they both live up to Captain's legacy and continue to be Captain going forward?
I did forget a favorite moment, and I don't want to forget it. It was in the throwback scene when Cap gets in the elevator and he says Hell Hydra.
Oh, yes. Oh.
That was cool, because the whole fact that he's been an undercover.
Yes.
Yeah, because he's been this undercover Hydra agent for so long. Or whatever. So
what my cosplay is I'm building. I've told you.
Yeah.
I'm building Captain Hydra, because that dynamic, when they put it in the comics, it's genius. And black and red Cap looks badass. So now that I've lost almost 50 pounds, it makes sense for me to build that costume. So that is the first thing I'm building. But yeah, no, when he did that, he leaned forward and he's like, "Hail Hydra." I was like, oh.
It got me, dude. It got me. I was like, that's so good.
Yeah. The one part, I'll be honest, that really, really did get me crying was when Tony was there and she just said, "You can rest now."
Yeah. Oh my God, dude. Yeah.
So,
way to bring it back. I appreciate that.
No, I know. But the reason
that was tough. Oh.
So other than just being emotional in the movie as well, my little sister, she's 14 years younger than me. She has a different dad. Her cousin, when we were younger, like we grew up all pretty close, his family and my family. She had a cousin who battled cancer for years. She went into remission and it came back like 2 or 3 years later. And when it came back, it was really, really bad. And she was in the hospital. The last thing her mom said to her before she passed was, "You can rest now."
Ooh.
So that kicked me in the gut so hard. And I didn't expect it to. It like instantly brought it. And we're talking, this happened like, God, I want to say like almost 20 years ago. But it was just like the phrasing in the movie was exactly what her mom's. It was
just fresh at that point. Like opening an
everything came rushing back, and it was. It's why I think Endgame, even with like the faults you have with it, the faults I have with it, is to me.
Well, I only have one fault now.
You only have I'm sure there was other ones that I had issues with in it, but it was just the whole thing. It's my favorite Marvel movie now. It
was so good. So good. Like I don't know if I can separate Infinity War and Endgame just because Infinity War but they did it well. Marvel did something unique. They did something spectacular, and I think they gave the fans what they wanted, and it didn't matter how many of the old movies you saw. Seeing Infinity War and Endgame together, you got to see something special. And if you followed all of them, like, you and I have, it was spectacular. But I mean, even if you only liked a couple of the movies or, if, whatever, seeing these two, like Infinity War and Endgame, just, they did it. And it's breaking all sorts of records. I mean, I get that everybody's want to see it, but it's breaking records for a reason. Like, it's not a piece of shit movie that's breaking records. It's an amazing film.
The fact it did $1.2 billion in its first 4 days.
It's disgusting. But it's
so disgusting.
It's so worth every bit of it. And I thought everything that happened afterwards was really good. I think that Thor handing over, Asgard to Valkyrie and him going on the Guardians, the Asgardians of the Galaxy bit was funny. I think that, Professor Hulk sending Cap back and Cap kind of living his own life, I thought that was good. I think that
Cap finally getting the love he deserved.
Yeah, man, he earned it, and I don't see any issue with it. I did at first. I was like, "Where the hell did he do with Mjolnir?" But I realized he was trying to return everything back to its time. Yeah. So he just returned Mjolnir back to where it was. So when somebody told me that, I was like, "Oh yeah, right. Oh God."
Could you imagine the talk though when he went to Vormir to return the Soul Stone, and Red Skull sitting there? Like, what the fuck? I would love to be why did they not show that scene? Like, could you imagine that?
Let's talk about that. How do you think the Soul Stone got returned?
That, again, I don't know. Because they said, like, you can't come back from the Soul Stone thing. So,
right. So I'm wondering how, and this was a conversation I was having with a friend the other day that kind of put that together. And the Soul Stone's the only thing that I don't know how they did that. How did he put that back?
He just put it back to Vormir so it stays in its resting spot, and somebody else would have to give another soul to it to get it out again, is the only thing I can think of. Because
it was a moment of like, what? No, I didn't think about that. Like, how does the Soul Stone? Yeah, because all the rest of them are easy, right? I mean,
they just go back and put them where they were.
Right, but that one specifically, that's a
I almost feel bad for putting back, oh my God, my brain, the ether, because they would have had to inject it back into her.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, that was, it was, overall, everything was really,
Yeah.
really cool. It was fun. I had fun with the movie. I thought it was amazing. It was a lot of emotions for sure. Tony's funeral at the end was really good. I thought that they just did a great job. I thought
Yes.
they did.
So
I think Marvel killed it.
I know we were like a minute in. I should have done it before. In a previous episode, I'm pretty sure, because I believed it wholeheartedly, that the boy that was in the garage in Iron Man 3, I want to say it was 3,
Yeah, it was 3.
was Peter Parker. I was wrong.
Yeah, he shows up at the funeral.
He shows up at the funeral. The boy, so Peter Parker was proven to be in an Iron Man movie. It was in Iron Man 2. He's the boy wearing the Iron Man mask that stands up to one of the armor hammered drones. That's there.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then Tony
yeah.
drops down and shoots him and he says, "Hey, good job, kid," and then flies away. That kid was Peter Parker. I got the two confused, and I've been confused forever, but it has been cleared up. So that was that's one gripe too, is they didn't explain who this kid was. Like, it would have been nice if they had, they didn't have to.
I don't think they needed
but it would have
to.
been.
Yeah,
a lot of people left it going like, what?
Well, it was an Easter egg, right? Like,
Yeah.
it was their own. Like, it was just a big major Easter egg. Like Howard the Duck, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
But this one, you saw this kid, because Jess looked that up immediately afterwards, because we all were like, what? Who the fuck was that? And she looked up and was like, oh, because I've seen Iron Man 3 once, and it was in theaters, and I never watched it again. So I didn't, it did nothing for me. I was like, oh, okay, that answers the question, sweet. But it was,
the way they were broken up at the funeral was a little weird.
I liked it. I thought it was cool. I thought they did their own little thing.
I liked it, but the groupings that they had was a little weird, is what I mean. Like, the way that they were grouped together, it just seemed weird.
I think it was just for the camera shot.
Oh, I'm sure it was, but like the people inside the groups. So like the Guardians off by themselves made sense.
Who didn't?
What was like Bucky, and to me, I think Bucky should have been standing with the Wakanda people, because he had spent so much time there. Like, wouldn't it make more sense that he was standing with them instead of with Hawkeye? Or with Falcon, I mean? Like,
why? No, because who was there with him when they sent Cap away,
I know, it just...
So they're just setting that up.
With all the other movies, though, the whole thing, it was just, yeah. No, it was very...
That's fair. It didn't bug me. I didn't look too far into it.
No,
to be
like,
honest,
it was a really moving thing. Like, and again, I had stopped crying. Everything was fine. And then they floated it out, and this proves Tony has a heart. I was like, oh my God.
Oh, yeah. I laughed, honestly. I laughed at that part. I thought it was awesome.
The part that made me giggle was his daughter going, "I like cheeseburgers."
I like cheeseburgers. Happy was John Favreau getting to be there with her was so good. Because Favreau's the man.
I honestly can't say enough.
He's gonna be so good
about how much I respect John Favreau as a filmmaker.
Yeah, he's the bomb.
Yeah, Chef is an incredible movie for those that haven't watched it.
It is a good movie, dude.
I mean, so not something we would talk about, but yeah, way underrated movie.
Yeah, really, really good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to his way over. I could still talk more about the
movies time.
I know.
We could, and I know you want to. Yeah, I know, but we
really can't. I know
we can't do this to them, Steve. We've already upset a lot of our fans by doing a spoiler episode. We gotta let these people go, Steve. We gotta let them go.
We do. We
gotta catch and release, Steve. Catch and release.
So something new for those that are listening is we now have a Patreon officially.
Wait, we do this in our spoiler episode?
We do this on the spoiler episode. I'm just going to throw it out there because it's there. I made it yesterday.
No, it's smart. I just think it's funny.
I know.
It's funny. What timing?
So right now there's only one level, which is $5. It will get you private access. Right now it only does private access to our Discord, to a Patreon role. We're working on the perks and everything that go with that. So like Aaron said, is with that, we're going to try and do a movie review episode or something that's more it's more personal.
Yeah, like this episode would have been like a Patreon only episode, whereas we would have had a normal episode. We just, Steve and I have just had a really busy week. So unfortunately we got to a point where this had to be our normal episode for the week. So we'll be better prepared in the future, but
Yeah, and I mean, we're growing as we go. Like you can hear in our sound quality and everything so we just wanted to give the opportunity for if anybody does want to support us. Again, it's never expected, but if you did, we're on Patreon, Can You Geek? You'll find us. Pretty sure we're the only one like that. The other ways to reach us, like we always say on our Twitters, there's at CanYouGeek or at Southam Designs. We have a Discord, which I'll post the link in the show notes because we're not affiliated with Discord, so we don't get a cool fancy link. So it's just a bunch of weird letters and numbers. And yeah, I mean, you can always email at show@canyougeek.com. So we want to thank everybody that's listened so far and continues to listen. And yeah, if you're liking it, tell a friend. Who knows? Maybe they'll like it too, and then they'll tell a friend. And then maybe we can find a way to make this even more for you. And have more and more. The more we can grow, hopefully, the more we can give you guys in return. So we just want to say thanks.
That's what she said.
Yes, she did. No.
Boom, roasted.
Yeah.
Oh my God, sorry.
No, it's good.
I'm an immature
It's more of
child.
who we are. So we want to be able to give you more of who we are and the people we are. And so we hope you enjoy what we're putting out because we're really enjoying doing this. And so thank you guys for listening.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And we'll talk to you in a week.
Later, nerds.
Later, nerds. Today's music is used by permission from the artist Broke for Free. The song is called Something Elated. You can find it on freemusicarchive.org under the user Broke for Free.